along with its sisterly Arab and Islamic states, reiterate that peace remains our strategic option. Experience showed over the past decades that this option cannot be founded except through just and equal rights. Based on this, and if the whole regional populations have always been relishing the right to their independent nations, the Palestinian people is not an exception. They too have the right to self-determination and to aspire for a future where war doesn't loom over, own the right to enjoy freedom and to live in their independent state, a state that lives side by side with Israel in peace, security and mutual recognition. Peace is not only crafted by governments but also built by peoples when they realize that yesterday's rivals could be tomorrow's partners. I avail this opportunity to appeal to the Israeli people. I say, let us turn this historic moment into a new beginning of just and peaceful coexistence prevalent life. Allow us to look forward together to a better future for the sons of our nations. Together, stretch out our hands for our cooperation towards a just and durable peace for the entire regional population. Excellency President Trump, let us pause at the scenes of overwhelming relief and happiness, whether down the streets in Gaza or in Israel alike, or in the entire world, after reaching the war-ending agreement. Thanks to your wise initiative, it is another evidence to the people's option is peace. We value as well your interest in resuming that in Gaza. Egypt will work with the United States and coordination with all partners during the forthcoming days to lay down the common grounds for proceeding towards the strip reconstruction without delay. In this context, we are willing to host early recovery, reconstruction and development conference, which will be based on your plan for ending the war in Gaza in order to provide livelihoods and to give hope to the Palestinians on their lands. Peace cannot be completed until hands are extended for rebuilding in the aftermath of devastation. Majesties, Excellencies and Highnesses, we look ahead to a bright future to our region as its cities are built on hope rather on burying the memories of its inhabitants under the rubble. We have a unique and historic opportunity at hand. It might be the last to come to a Middle East free from whatever menacing its stability and progress. A Middle East where its populations relish peace and decent existence within its secured borders and safeguarded rights. A Middle East that is invincible to terrorism and radicalization. A Middle East free from mass destructive weapons. This is the very new Middle East that Egypt envisions to be embedded in collaboration with regional and international partners. Today's agreement paves the way for that, and it should be cemented and implemented in all its stages, and to reach the implementation of the two-state solution, ensuring our joint vision, exemplifying coexistence among the regional populations, even exemplifying integration among all its states. Honorable attendees, before I conclude my speech, and in appreciation to President Donald Trump's efforts, I would like to declare before the August attendees Egypt's decree to decorate His Excellency with the Order of the Nile, the highest state honor among Egyptian decorations. It is awarded to heads of states and to those who render great services to humankind. Thank you all.
وتمنح برؤساء الدول ولمن يقدمون خدمات جليلة للإنسانية.
Now I invite the honorable guest to deliver his speech. Excellency President Trump, kindly proceed. The floor is
الآن
yours.
أدعو الضيف الكريم يلقي كلمته فخامة الرئيس فلتتفضل.
Well, thank you very much, and that was a great honor. I appreciate it very much, Mr. President, Mr. General, Mr. President, great General, great President. Thank you very much. This is the day that people across the region and around the world have been working, striving, hoping, and praying for. They have done things over the last month that I think were really unthinkable. Nobody thought this could happen. With the historic agreement we've just signed, those prayers of millions have finally been answered. As you know, the hostages have been returned, and further work goes on having to do with the, sadly to say, bodies. Together we've achieved what everybody said was impossible. At long last, we have peace in the Middle East, and it's a very simple expression, peace in the Middle East, and we've heard it for many years, but nobody thought it could ever get there, and now we're there. And I want to congratulate everybody sitting in these first few rows and standing behind me. I don't know why they chose to stand, but I promise I'll make it short, okay? We are not going to keep you standing for long. These are great leaders. After years of suffering and bloodshed, the war in Gaza is over. Humanitarian aid is now pouring in, including hundreds of truckloads of food and medical equipment and other supplies, much of it paid for by people in this room. Civilians are returning to their homes. The hostages are reuniting. I mean, it's beautiful. I'm just watching it backstage. The level of love and sorrow, I've never seen anything like it. It's amazing when you see they haven't seen their mother, their father. They haven't seen them in such a long time, and they lived in a tunnel, a very little tunnel, very deep. And the level of love is just incredible. It's a beautiful thing to see. In one sense, it's so horrible that it could have taken place, but in another sense, it's so beautiful to see a new and beautiful day is rising, and now the rebuilding begins. The rebuilding is maybe going to be the easiest part. I think we've done a lot of the hardest part, because the rest comes together. We all know how to rebuild, and we know how to build better than anybody in the world. I want to express my tremendous gratitude to the Arab and Muslim nations who helped make this incredible breakthrough possible. And you really did. To President El-Sisi of Egypt, who is so generously hosting us today. And I want to thank you for the outstanding job your country is doing in so many different ways, and for helping us so much with this peace agreement. I also want to thank the President for the escort of 6 fighter jets. Oh, we looked out the window, we said, I hope they're friendly, and they turned out to be very friendly. But we had 3 on each side, and they are beauties right out of the great, really American manufacturing hub. We make the greatest military equipment in the world. We have the strongest military in the world by far. And I knew exactly what those planes were, and I knew exactly how much you paid for those planes, too. You paid a lot, but you got a pretty good deal. And they are great planes, and we just appreciate it. That was quite an escort in. That was very impressive. But Air Force One was really, it was covered with Egyptian desert just a few months ago. If you think about it, just a few months ago it was Egyptian desert, and now it was just a few feet off our window. And it was a spectacular sight, and I appreciate it very much. Really, it was pretty good. You got our people by surprise. I don't know if they were thrilled right at the beginning, but they were thrilled as we sailed along very, very calmly and safely. And I'm deeply honored to receive from you, Egypt's highest state honor, the Order of the Nile. The Nile is so beautiful, so magnificent. It's such a beautiful title, the Order of the Nile. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Appreciate it. Great honor. I also want to give a very special thanks to the Emir of Qatar, a man who's outstanding. He's been a friend of mine for a long time, long before politics, and he's a fantastically respected man. His Highness Sheikh Tamim is respected by everybody. He's respected by everybody, and in the most positive way, not only because of power, because of his heart. He's got a tremendous heart, and he's a great leader, and his country loves him. Thank you very much for being here. It's an honor. Let me also express our condolences to the Qataris on the tragic car crash that claimed the lives of your cherished diplomats, some of whom were known by our people, and they were supposed to be incredible people. So please extend our sorrow and best wishes. That was tough. That was really tough. On this extraordinary occasion, I also want to give our sincere thanks to President Erdogan of Turkey. He's always there when I need him. He's such a tough guy. He is tough as you can be, but we love him. And when they have a problem with you, they always call me to handle it. And usually I come through. We just have a good relationship, but we have from the beginning. And so I want to thank you very much and say hello to your wife, your beautiful wife. And it's great to be with you. Always there. When I need him, he's always there. Thank you very much, Mr. President. And I also want to thank, I just spoke to him on the phone, His Royal Highness Crown Prince Mohammed, Saudi Arabia, a special friend of mine. Boy, he's come so long and so far, and he's doing a fantastic job for his country. And I want to just thank him. And His Highness Sheikh Mohammed of the United Arab Emirates is here. Where? He's here someplace. Well, he's not here, but he's here in spirit, I can tell you that. And he's been another one. He's been absolutely incredible, and we appreciate it very much. And His Majesty King Abdullah of Jordan. And thank you very much, King Abdul of Jordan. He's here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. And you really have been a great help. We appreciate it. Appreciate it. Prime Minister Sharif of Pakistan. And also, I have to say, my favorite field marshal from Pakistan, who's not here, but the Prime Minister is here, and you're going to give his regards. Where are you? There you go. Thank you very much. You want to say what you said to me the other day? Come, would you like to say what you said the other day? I think it was so nice. Please.
Thank you very much, my dear President Trump, my dear brother President Fadil Sisi of Egypt, Majesties, Highnesses, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum, and a very good evening.
As the President cedes over to the Prime Minister of Pakistan for a moment, let's bring in our Chief White House correspondent, Peter Alexander, in Jerusalem, just to digest what we've heard so far from the President here. Peter, the President talking about the war in Gaza being over. I was struck that he said humanitarian aid is now pouring in to Gaza. I'm not sure if we can fact-check that at this moment, but talk broadly about the messaging that we're hearing from the President.
Well, you're right. I think the simple fact check is that it's not yet pouring in, but the desire is that it will at least return to the levels that existed several years ago. The desire is that the humanitarian need in Gaza will quickly be met by the international community. So I think, to be clear, there is a lot of work that needs to be done on that front. The President did make note here of something, saying that he hopes that today serves not just as the end of the war in Gaza, but a new beginning for the entire Middle East. I really think that has been the theme of his remarks, not just settling for the historic moment that benefits the Israelis and Palestinians in his views, but one that will benefit a wider region, earlier focusing on a desire for a new agreement with Iran, saying in effect that the U.S.'s hand was always prepared to shake that of Iran if an agreement could be reached, which comes against the backdrop of a country here in Israel that still feels it has a major concern as it relates to Iran, and perhaps unfinished business on both sides after the war of only a matter of months ago here. But the President, who was supposed to spend less than 8 hours in the Middle East, has now been here approaching 12 hours after his remarks before that audience of world leaders. He will begin begin the long journey back home, and it will punctuate what has been really a remarkable day that began with the return of those 20 hostages, the last living hostages in communities around this country right now. They are celebrating the return of a loved one, a friend, a family member, many of those who are now being watched on social media across this country, on television screens throughout Israel and around the world as they see these jubilant, joyful reunions that have taken place. And they focus now on returning the remains of those who haven't come home. But then really the hard part begins. And as the president says that the war is over, we have to acknowledge that he said those comments today, just a day after Benjamin Netanyahu yesterday in remarks to the Israelis made an appeal for unity, and also said that the military campaign is not over yet, that there are major security challenges, Kate, as we have witnessed and will witness going forward, that remain to be addressed in the months, frankly, and years ahead.
Peter, thank you so much. Let's bring in our chief international correspondent, Keir Simmons, who's in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. Keir, you're watching all of this. The president taking time to individually thank a number of different world leaders in the room. It almost feels like we're watching the diplomacy happen live.
Yeah, he loves transparent diplomacy, doesn't he, President Trump? And you're seeing classic Trump here in Egypt. What effectively he's saying, standing there in the kind of